Welcome, beautiful yogis, yoginis. Happy Thursday. Welcome to your yin practice. My name is Eva. Namaste, namaste, namaste. What a beautiful spring day we've had today. Feeling perhaps quite energized. So today we are starting on our belly. So come down onto the abdomen. You might wish to bring one hand on top of the other. Just rest the forehead there. And separate the feet a little, just so you've got space between your heels and your toes. And then that way you're just allowing space in the lower back. Just this nice gentle position. If you find that it is uncomfortable in this crocodile position, if you prefer, you can slide the hands forward and just turn the head to one side. But just finding the abdomen and just breathing, landing, and feeling your body. Noticing your in-breath. Notice the breath, particularly in the back body, back of the shoulders, the spaces between the back ribs. And then as you exhale the breath, just feel that sense of dropping into the earth. Just take another round, inhaling through both nostrils. Just hold the breath at the top this time. Really notice the expansion through your ribs, rib cage, as the belly fills with breath. And then as you exhale the breath, perhaps make a sigh this time out through your mouth. Just gently releasing, softening. Just keep watching the breath releasing and the body responding to that. Hold the breath at the bottom. And then again, take another nourishing, cleansing breath in. And then soften on your exhalation, open or closed mouth, your choice. Eventually you will notice that your lips will seal. You'll just be still. Just connecting to your breath. Sometimes it's a little challenging just to be still with our breath. Sometimes there are external distractions that try to pull us out. Just observe those external distractions, whether it be that you've got people around you in your space, your family, whether you've got animals running around. No matter what it is, just observe it rather than respond to it. Things will always be there. But we have a choice in each moment how we respond in that moment. So do you allow yourself to be pulled out of your stillness? Or can you just still remain still in amongst the seemingly chaotic circumstances? And that is the true test of meditation, of yoga. Can we sit grounded in ourselves despite the things beyond our control? And as you breathe in and out, and as you witness your breath becoming longer as you remain still, as it requires no effort to be here, set yourself an intention by just finding one word. Just a word. Whether it be joy or happiness, strength, love, abundance, truth. Just keep finding your word that resonates today. Just finding that word. We're on our belly if you've just joined in. Just laying down on the stomach. Just setting a one-word intention. Or just a one word, just a word that resonates with you today. And breathe that word into the whole of your being. Feel it and feel it inside of you. And just take 5 more conscious breaths. I wish to visualize that word moving in and out as you breathe. You might feel the strength, the wisdom, the courage, the love, the abundance, whatever your word is as you breathe it in. And as you release anything that's not serving you. And when you complete your 5 breaths, you might wish to keep the word with you throughout your practice. Just very slowly, just start to move a little here. You might lift the forehead off the back of the hands. You might come onto the forearms and shift around a little. Just let there be a little bit of movement. You might even bend the knees. You might even just move the feet around. You might separate the knees a little bit wider. Just feel a little bit of movement, still kind of remaining on the belly. The forehead can still be down, whatever you feel. And then we're all going to push back into a child's pose. So the hands will come under your shoulders. Just gently press yourself back. And just make it a little bit more of an active child's pose, but just adding some movement. Just noticing the body swaying a little, maybe rising onto the fingertips. Your option here is just to creep the hands around to one side. And just take a few deep breaths there, just to get into the side body a little. If you prefer just to keep moving in your child's pose, please do. My suggestion is just to at least creep the hands over and just pause for at least 5 or so breaths on one side, just really acknowledging the spaces between the ribs and how the spine moves, and just honoring the gallbladder meridian that zigzags along the side of the body. And then you'll take it to the other side as well. So take your time to just journey there. We are going to hold it for 5 or so breaths, 5 to 7. Just really exploring the breath. So being still, it doesn't have to be a full reach across, but just as long as you're breathing into the spaces between the ribs, the intercostal muscles. Just enjoying those breaths. Smooth breaths, the easeful breath. And then just allow yourself just to slowly now come back to center. And then just come to the hands and the knees. We're just going to work the wrists to begin with this evening. So I feel that we're all doing a lot more computer work and things behind desks at home. So working the wrists is a really beautiful option to just release the wrist extensors. So we're going to turn the fingers towards the knees. Just slowly, one at a time, but spread your fingers really wide and then turn. So you've got that external rotation, and then just shift a little forward back. I like to curl my toes under in this particular one. And that way we get a nice stretch in the toes if you've got the mobility there in the wrists. So just rock a little side to side, forward back. Maybe just transferring the weight from the heel of the hands and then to the fingertips. But keep it really soft and gentle. So still keeping that beautiful word of yours in mind as you just explore. And then allow your body to explore a place that you'd like to pause. So we're moving just so we can feel the place that calls for our attention. And then you're just going to stop there. You're just going to let the head perhaps hang. Try to release your jaw, maybe even Let the tongue fall out of the mouth. So those of you who are just joining, we've got a waiting room attached to our Zoom for some reason. It's a new feature on Zoom. So we are going to have to be here on time, just so I can be able to see you and let you in. So we're bringing the fingers towards the knees, getting a nice stretch through the wrists if you're just joining. And just settling there. Let the head be heavy, let the jaw release. Keep the eyes closed. Just find that subtle breath once again, just like we did right at the beginning where we were laying on our belly. Just feeling the natural rhythm of our breath. We're still here, feeling the natural rhythm of our breath. And maybe we just start to notice sensations rising. And so remembering that we always have a choice and that we can still remain still in amongst the chaos. And in this case, the chaos might be the wrist saying, oh my God, wow, haven't felt you before. Shouldn't be feeling pain. There might be slight discomfort. That's okay. Just breathe through any resistance. And of course, you have full permission to come out if you ever feel to. But know that it's done lovingly and truthfully, not just a reaction. There's a little more that you can explore now. Go ahead and do that. Maybe shift a little further back. Maybe you come a little deeper than what you thought you might have when you first came into this. And our magic number today is 5. So 5 breaths from here now. Take them slow, count them slowly, gently, and lovingly. Sending all of that love and energy into your wrists, into your hands and your fingers, knowing that they will thank you when this is over. Keep the space between the eyebrows soft as you complete your 5 rounds. And then when you do, just come back to that position where the shoulders are over the wrists a little bit more. You can untuck the toes, you can walk the knees in. There's no easy way to come out of this. We're just going to rise onto the knees and the shins. We're just going to hold the hands. So just hold them in space. Just let them, you can sit back on the heels if you can. If you want to stay on the knees, you can. Just let the energy flow back through those wrists. And then see if you can just start to wriggle the fingers a little. Might take a little while to get those fingers moving. And then just roll your wrists. You can make little fists and just roll them. Just get that energy flowing through, the blood flowing through. Roll them in both directions. And then there might be more mobility now to wriggle. We're going to interlace the fingers. We're going to press the palms forward. So if you're upright, you can round, or if you're finding it challenging to sit on your heels, just bring something behind the heels and the buttocks. Interlock your fingers and just round forward, pressing your palms forward, keeping the biceps beside the ears. And then as you inhale, reach your arms all the way up. Just lean a little to the back with the arms, keeping the biceps behind the ears rather than just moving the whole head back. Just focus on the arms. And then just release the hands behind you. Take an interlace of the hands, press your palms together, squeeze your shoulder blades together. And then release your hands, take an inhale breath. Reach them to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, bring them down to the center of your chest. So we're going to bring the backs of the hands on the earth. So turn your fingers to face inwards. And then bring the backs of the hands on the earth. And just add a little bit of a sway here. We're not going to hold this one for too long. We're just counteracting or counterbalancing the pose that we were in. So just rock a little side to side. We are going to move in this one. So we're going to keep the shoulders in line with the wrist. We're just going to move the fingers. So have a look at your hands. And then just see if you can bend your index fingers just to curl in. See if you can keep the other fingers connected to the earth and the thumbs connected to the earth. And just your index fingers. Bend them and straighten them a few times. See if you can just isolate the index fingers. And then you're going to try that now with your middle fingers. You might notice that you might not be able to. There might be other fingers attached. Have a little exploration there of the middle fingers, just moving. And then you're going to complete that journey now with the ring fingers. Just notice the fingers. I have my little finger that wants to lift on my right hand and not my left. And then you'll try the little fingers. And then you'll try the thumbs. Just move them around. And then keep the backs of the hands on the earth. Just kind of like you're making little fists, just with the fingers curling in. Just making those little fists, but keeping the back of the hands on the earth. And then squeeze and hold. Squeeze and hold, squeeze and hold. Maybe push the back of the hands into the earth a little bit more. You should get nice and deep into those wrists. And release. Beautiful. Rise onto the knees, the shins, reach the arms all the way up. As you come to sit on the heels, just bring your hands to your heart and just let the hands rest there for a moment. And just feel the pulsating energy through your palms, hands, wrists. Just thanking those hands for all that they do for you. And sometimes we have injuries on our fingers and we don't realize how much we use them. We'll give the hands a rest now. We're going to slide off the feet and we're going to come into just a forward fold. You might wish to place a bolster underneath your knees just to make it slightly wider with the legs and more of a lean forward. So that might be your option for today. If you prefer to get into the back of the legs a little bit more, just remove anything from underneath. You can extend the legs. There can still be a bend in the knees. Separating them a little bit just so you've still got some space. You can just kind of hang here. If you're finding that you're challenged to come forward, elevate the hips so you've got an anterior tilt of your pelvis. And a cushion, a blanket rather, is really, or a cushion, is a really beautiful one for this. And even if you feel like you don't need it, it's sometimes nice just to have that cushioning. You can always have the bolster in front or lean it across the chest. Just ensure it's not obstructing you. So in other words, if you know that you're quite mobile, this is probably not going to do much for me. I know I can definitely feel something if I go further. So please know that Yin is a lot different to the restorative style of yoga. So we do want to feel something. Yes, we still get a beautiful restful sensation from it as we allow our parasympathetic nervous system to be most dominant. But we do get quite deep into the fascia and the connective tissues of the body. So just find your place of stillness. And we are going to hold and breathe, and remember finding about 60% of your range rather than that 100% to begin with. So we're not forcing, we're not tugging. It's just this sense of, I'm dropping in, I've arrived. And let the breath guide you. The breath becomes your guru, your teacher. The dispeller of darkness. The dispeller of illusions, obstacles. And the illusions and obstacles that stand in our way are not really there. They're illusionary. We create them in our mind. So we can change the way we look at things in any moment. And instantly we can change the experience in our body. Just keep soft and subtle as you breathe in and out. And try to relax the whole body here. So avoid clenching the buttocks or flexing the toes. Just let them relax. If the toes, feet want to turn out, let them. That's why we create a little space between the thighs. That's just more of a natural position for our anatomy in the hip area. Requires a lot of energy and effort to actually zip the legs in together. And your arms might be forward, your palms might be facing up, or you might actually bring your hands behind you. That might give you a completely different experience. You might wish to support the forehead. There might be a block available or something resembling a block nearby. And then just notice the space behind the back of the head. So there's right behind the back of the skull, kind of the top of the neck area. There's an area that we call the occipital ridge. But there's also a little divot there, which there is a very subtle chakra, an energy center. And you might have heard of the 7 main energy centers, but there are many, many more. So staying in that forward fold, just bring your awareness to that place behind the back of the skull, top of the neck. You might notice if the chin is forward, you'll just feel the back of the neck lengthening. So this particular chakra is known as Alta Major. And it is the energy point for race memory and survival patterns that have been inherited from our ancestors. So basically it's that place of distant memory. It's that all-knowing, not knowing how we know how to survive and those patterns that enable us to survive, but it's there. And so that's Alta Major. And it's also been said that it's distant memories that could possibly also involve past life recollections. So just something to just bring into the forefront of your awareness and just bring your attention to that space behind the back of the head as you breathe. Noticing that sometimes we just get in our own way. We forget that the human instinct is deeply ingrained in us and that we know how to survive without knowing how. It's in us from our ancestors. So just let the head become a little bit heavier. Let the space between your eyebrows soften. Just feel your tongue perhaps just moving forward towards the back of the top and bottom teeth, or maybe top or bottom. But you're not holding the tongue in place. Just see if you can relax it. And if you're not sure, perhaps just move the mouth a few times. You can open and close and move the jaw around. And that might even help you relax the jaw a little more. You might get a really nice rounding sensation through your spine if you are allowing the head to come forward. So just noticing that whole back fascial line of the body. One of the biggest. It runs along the back there, our urinary bladder. Let the shoulders become heavy. Let them fall to the ears if they want to, as long as there's not a drawing of them upwards. Just let them relax. They might fall to the ears, but there's not a strain in the shoulders. And soften the buttocks and each of your fingers and your toes. And now take 5 more breaths. Just focusing on Alta Chakra right at the back of the head. Back at the base of the skull. Top of the head. Take your time to explore those 5 breaths. And when you've completed, just a slow journey upwards. You might press the hands into the floor to support you. Just uncurl the spine, lift the chin so it's parallel to the earth, so everything is just neutral for a moment. And then just find your mat behind you and just lower down onto a forearm, an elbow, the other one, just so you can support yourself back down into a rebound. This time on the back. Just notice what you sense and feel in your body. You might notice the sensation in the buttocks, glutes, hamstrings, along the spine, back of the neck. That urinary bladder line just starts from the corner of the eyebrows, travels up along the forehead. There's 2 branches, travels along the skull all the way down. And all the way down through the back of the legs, all the way out through the little toes. And now we're going to stimulate its partner, which is the kidney meridian, which then crosses underneath the sole of the foot to the inner part of your heels. And then it does this little kind of loop around your ankle. And then it comes through the inseam of your thighs. So we're going to get into the inner thighs. Let's start to make some movements here now. You might stretch the arms, point the toes. You might draw knees into chest. So full permission to move now after our rebound. You might draw a knee in. Just take your time. And take a slow roll over to one side and then a gentle press back up. So I'm going to give you 2 options. You're either going to come into a butterfly position, and it can be a nice loose butterfly, just a nice loose butterfly. Supporting the knees with a couple of blocks can be quite helpful. Again, sitting up on the hips, sitting up on a blanket, elevating the hips can also be a really beautiful option. Bolster can be in front, on top, on its side if you've got one, forehead resting. And of course, the other inner thigh groin opener will be a wide leg position. So coming more into that dragonfly. So just choosing one that calls for you now, calls for your attention. So this wide leg doesn't have to be extremely wide either, but definitely wider than the first one. And then again, sitting up on that blanket, a cushion, even just having the bolster in front and resting elbows, even creating more height if you feel you need to. Eventually you will come forward. So just let gravity start to draw you into your shape now. And just breathe softly, gently in and out. Just release the jaw, the tongue, the throat. Just again, noticing that forward fold. Again, we're still getting into the back fascial line a little as we fold forward. So that's the urinary bladder, and its partner is the kidney. So there's a yin and a yang meridian through the body. Can get a little bit overwhelming sometimes when we have too much of that information, but just be in that place of just stillness, acknowledging your body, remembering your word, and breathing. You might also get a slight stimulation of the liver, the spleen as well. And each of these parts of the body or organs have a particular emotion attached to them. You might notice it as you breathe here. You might notice which one it is for you. Sometimes we hit an edge and we feel a particular emotion stirring, or a memory is triggered. And then that memory might cause you to have a certain reaction. And this is where the beauty of yin lies, in that complete unfolding and unveiling of the layers of ourself, who we think we are. Just notice if you've clenched the jaw. Just notice what you can feel. Just keep the hands soft as well, so we're not clenching or pushing the floor away, maybe palms upwards. Or maybe you hear the sound of your breath, your ujjayi breath. Eyes are closed. There's a sense of ease. Again, you might want to bring awareness back to the Alta Major chakra behind the back of the neck. That energy point of our race memory and survival patterns inherited from our ancestors. Deep, deep, distant memory. Breathing in and out. Just meeting yourself where you are in this present moment. The love, the joy, sense of gratitude. There's about a minute or so left in this one. So if you know that you can go a little deeper, or if you just wish to explore it, just try that out. See what happens. And then just settle down. And now just take 5 more breaths. Come up slowly when you complete 5 rounds of breath. Just move anything to the side. If the legs have been out wide, it does help just to assist them slightly together. Same with if the knees were out wide, just bring the knees together. And once again, come onto the back, rebound. Find stillness. Even if it's tempting to make any other movements, just be still and witness the flow of chi moving through your body. You might feel a residual sensation through the inner thighs, that kidney, liver, meridian line. That runs on the inseam of the leg. Just sit with a smile or lay with a smile gently on your lips. And notice how that gesture of turning the corners of the mouth upwards changes the chemicals in the brain to actually, in a way, trick us to thinking that we are happy. And then we become happy. So just by smiling, just by turning the corners of the mouth upwards, can just completely change our mood. Now when you're ready to move, wriggle, stir, stretch, make any subtle movements that you feel you need to counteract, to counterpose, maybe twisting, maybe stretching, drawing knees in or extending the legs up, rolling ankles. And we're going to roll back onto our abdomen once again. We're going to get into the shoulders, the chest area. So from the abdomen, we'll start with our left arm out to the left. Directly out from the shoulder with your palm facing down on the floor. I'm just coming up so you can see me. Bring the right hand under your shoulder. Bend your right knee. Roll yourself all the way over onto the left side of the body. You might need something behind you to rest a foot on. You might need something under your left ear, a cushion or a block to rest your ear on. You don't want the head to be lifted. You want to comfortably come down. So we're working the heart-lung meridian area here in the body. So just opening up that chest-shoulder region. Again, another thing that might be an area that might be a little bit more closed and contracted. So if this is quite comfortable for you, some of us are quite open, 2 options from here. You can bring your right hand behind you, and that might offer you a little bit more. Actually, 3 options. Or you can also, you can bend your left foot. Bend your left knee. So both feet are on the floor and your knees are up towards the ceiling. Or roll back onto your abdomen and bend your elbow. So you're creating this stop sign and then roll. I find it gets into a very different area for me, having this bent elbow as opposed to straight. Try them both out and see which one resonates with you today. And there's not one right shape. You're going to probably feel different things at different times. So straight or bent, rolling to the left with or without a hand behind, but definitely with the left ear down. And then the important part here is that you breathe. With an inner smile or an outer smile. And then just feeling that opening of your heart, quite literally, as we work the channels, the energy centers here at the heart and the meridian points. which are like the nadis, which is the Indian philosophy, the meridians, the Chinese philosophy. Or you're just getting a nice opening through your chest. Breathing in and out. Sometimes it can really creep up on us, the sensation. To know you are in full control of your body at every given moment. Breathe deeply. Notice the emotions. The sensations. The heart is generally associated with joy. The lungs are often associated with worry. There are also two additional ones for the heart and lung. The lung can also be to do with sadness. And the heart with shock. So sadness dissolves our chi. Shock scatters our chi. Joy slows our chi down. Fear makes our chi descend. Anger makes our chi rise. And pensiveness knots our chi. And pensiveness is just that constant thinking about things that haven't happened. So that constant worrying about past and future. Take 5 more breaths. Calm breaths. Feeling the joy associated with the heart. Maybe shock is also associated with the heart. So you can feel it in both ways. You feel the joy in the heart, and maybe when you feel shocked, you feel it in the heart. When you've completed 5 breaths, you're just going to roll back onto the abdomen. The arm might just want to stay there for a few breaths. Eventually, try to slide it down somewhere else. Move it beside you or above you. And then come back onto the abdomen, either crocodile pose, which is just the forehead on the back of the hands, or just turn the head gently to one side. Just be still. Breathing in and out. Turning the corners of the mouth upwards. Just observing what shifts and changes. And we know we have the second side, If you're ready to come straight to the second side, start to set it up. If you feel you want to move a little bit, move the arms back. Just imagine I'm on my belly if you can see me. And then eventually the right arm will slide out, left hand under shoulder. And then you're pressing all the way to roll onto the right side of the body. I like to have something underneath me as well. I generally have a pillow, not a pillow, just a blanket under the mat. It offers you a bit of comfort. So just notice how it feels to begin with. Stay for a few breaths. And then know your options. Hand might release. Feet might come together. Or you might bend the elbow. Don't have as much wall space here, so I'll have to spin around. And then just ensure that you're not holding the head off the floor, but it rests gently. Sometimes we don't actually realize that we're lifting it. And then when we place the head down, it's this instant sense of, oh, I can relax. Take a few deep breaths, consciously in and out. Not underestimating the power of our breath, our prana, which is our life force. Soften the jaw. Keep the eyes closed, again, even if there's distractions around your space. Stay in your little yin bubble, we'll call it. And just this auric field that you've got around you. Just allow the distractions to be there. Try not to engage or react or respond. And at times we respond. But as long as you acknowledge it, not be so hard and just, okay, well, I just responded. But it's when it's unconscious that it becomes the problem. But if you're here, no doubt you've discovered the amazing practice of yoga and how that helps to calm us down, to self-inquire, to do the work, to get to know who we are, to not distract ourselves constantly by doing things. But how well can we sit with ourselves? How well can we be in our own company without feeling we need to do anything else? Like mow the lawn, clean the windows, call that friend. There might be things we need to do, but are we doing them as a distraction? Because we can't fathom our own company. Maybe something to contemplate. One of the 8 limbs of yoga is that sense of that deep contemplation. You can take that contemplation as deep as you wish. Dharana is the Sanskrit word that comes before being able to be in meditation, which is dhyana, comes next. The 7th limb of yoga, which then leads us to the state of samadhi, to be in that blissful state of, to be a part of and connected to, and not separate from, and not in the mind. And at times we reach that place of samadhi. It's not something that we can't access. We might not stay there all the time. The practice of yoga is so accessible to us as we move through a profound shift, rapid. And so these tools that have been handed down over the last 2,000 years, we are able to have and access and experience. Just feel your body, feel your breath, feel the heart, the lungs, the organs, the emotions. Notice what you feel at this point. Soften the breath, soften your jaw, find your word. Joy, love, happiness, abundance, peace, tranquility. Now let yourself explore 5 slow breaths. Enjoy the journey through those 5 breaths. Unravel slowly back onto your belly. Maybe a sigh, maybe some sound. Feel the flow, the current of energy through the arm. Feel your body thanking you. Be still. Be still. And know thyself. Here, just bring your hands under your shoulders and just gently press back into a child's pose. Support yourself as much as you need. Just settle there for a moment or two. And then you make the choice whether you will complete your practice in this beautiful restorative position of child's pose. If you have bolsters, you can straddle the bolster, place something underneath it, and quite literally hold and hug the bolster, pop a blanket over the top of you, and just feel that, that sense of I'm home, really acknowledging the heart and the lung meridian points and that physical sensation of joy, of love. If you prefer to come onto your back to support yourself that way, I'm sure you know how to come into that position. Alternatively, if you wish to complete your practice on your abdomen, the way that we have commenced our practice, that's your option as well. So your choice from your heart. So settling being the being that you are, not having to be anything other than pure energy, pure consciousness experiencing through the senses, which is pretty much what we are, pure consciousness experiencing through our senses, and then creating all of these things around what we experience. All the joys of being alive. Magical gift indeed. Breathe in, loving awareness. Breathe out all that no longer serves you in this lifetime to create a new life for you. Breaking those old patternings, those conditions. To move into something a little different. Without attachment to outcome. So remembering Alta, major chakra, behind the back of the neck. Knowing that we know, we have the answers. It's in us. Handed down from 7 generations through our DNA. Breaking ancestral patterning. That has conditioned us. It has had its purpose. But now it's up to you to choose your path, to follow your calling. To walk your Dharma, your life purpose. You know what it is. You don't find it from the intellect, scanning the brain, from getting another degree. You have everything that you need already. The time is now to shine. And slowly putting awareness back into your physical body. Knowing that you are a light being having a human experience. And that life is play, lila. Have fun. See the joy in each moment, the gift in each moment. Take your time to stir, to stretch, to come out gently. Just enough to get you into a seat and maybe ready to jump into bed. So we'll meet in a seated position, just in your own time. When you come to your seat, smile on the lips, palms together. At the center of the chest, Anjali Mudra. Balancing the left, the right hemispheres of the brain, coming back to our heart center, coming back to our truth. Just breathe in that sense of deep gratitude, breathing in your word. Have an amazing journey into your evening. Stay well. Namaste.